Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Cobra FANG 2. The Cobra FANG 2 was first released in the United States domestically here in 1989. It was also available in 1990, but unfortunately it was discontinued in 1991. It's a great departure from what the first FANG was. We started getting the tilt rotor craft, which is really kind of neat and awesome. Um, so doing a little research on this, I didn't. Looking around trying to see on the schematics, I didn't see an actual speed for this. Um, Now, on the first Fang in the video, I have it listed as going up about 175 miles an hour. For civilian tilt rotor aircraft, um, I'm seeing somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 200 miles an hour for civilian stuff. So just keep that in mind. Um, I did not look up to see what the Osprey actually does, and I very easily could. I'm just trying to see what the standard civilian would be. These aren't the largest engines in the world, so I'm just trying to keep it down to something smaller for that reason alone. Plus, when you look at the fact that we do have 6 missiles on here and that cannon in the front. Now, on the first one, we had I believe it was a 40 millimeter automatic grenade launcher. Now we're looking at a 20 millimeter cannon on the front. So it does change on how this whole machine is actually meant to operate. So just taking it from there, going along those lines. Now we do have a pilot in here, which didn't look. It didn't actually come with a pilot, but when you look at it, it looks like the pilot's going to have a helmet on. So if you're going a little faster, I mean, it's not like they're going to have too much wind to be able to breathe for those that are a little sensitive to that. So in those regards, I think I don't think it's going to be a big issue. We have some wonderful pictures here, which we're kind of flipping through here on yojo.com, which is where we normally start off our videos on all of this. And we go back to our first picture. Regrettably, we have easily and or broken parts. And today we're looking at missiles for the Cobra FANG 2, and the gun are commonly missing. So for those that have a complete FANG 2, try and cherish that wonderful vehicle. It is a very nice looking vehicle, I will say that. This has also been featured in, of course, here we have it in the DIC Series 2 G.I. Joe cartoon, as well as some of the comic books. This is the annual here. What else do we have? Some art. And then, of course, then they have it in one of the video games. I believe this is that here a Nintendo video game that they had done so many years ago, and for an arcade game for a shooter. Let's see, and the old commercial, and it looks like we have Serpentor in there from the looks of it. So let's see, for any other releases, China had a slight different variation in the box. Versions of the Fang 2. Now, of course, we have the original Fang in '83. We have the Fang 2 in 2000 or in '89. Oops. Geez. All right. Um, and then we have, let's see, we have a Fang 3 in 2002, and then we go back down to the original Fang in 2008. I will admit the original Fang is a very iconic helicopter. Behind that, I think the Fang 2 is a very good upgrade to this. Um, and that's really the way I kind of always take all this stuff. As we progress farther on, we have upgrades to newer technology. Every military kind of does that along the way, and that's the way I really choose to look at it all. Now, the original price was $6.29. Not a very bad price, but there again, you got to remember, people were making a lot less money back then. So, all right. So, bringing this into our D6 universe, whether it's just being done as just a straight GI Joe or GI Joe Star Wars or however you want to do this, uh, we have the Fang 2, keeping it at a speeder scale, very similar to that what we did with the original Fang. Um, Lengthwise, using the original Fang as kind of a blueprint of where do we start and where do we go with it, I left it roughly about a 20-foot length. Not exactly certain how big we should go with this, so I figured if I can leave it about the same length, fill in that same mold, something small that we can just easily hide, easily transport, uh, built cheaply that it could be done in a big mass for a corporation that's trying to take over the world, such as Cobra. Uh, so leaving the link there. Now we only have the crew of one. There are no passengers. Now this deviates from where we were with the original Fang. We could actually put one person on each landing strut, where here we do not have that availability. I kept the cargo capacity at about a 45 kilogram. We do have a 1/2 cover and altitude range. I'm leaving it roughly at about 3 kilometers. Now, um, shoot, there was one of the other ones we were doing, and I'm going to try and look this up here. Actually, maybe I can do it here. Um, the flight pod. Oh, flight pod here. Let's see. No, we had altitude of 1 kilometer for the flight pod itself. Um, Trying to think. The fire bat. Maybe it was a fire bat. No, because I have a space range. I know there was one of the other vehicles that we had done that essentially I had actually looked up what your average height would be. Um, for like a small plane or whatever, but I don't remember which one it was. So originally I said about 3 kilometers up, not wanting to go too high. I guess we could leave it that way. Um, Keeping it with a maneuverability of 2D. I did increase the speed because the original thing was at 175 miles an hour. We're up to a 200-mile-an-hour speed, keeping a body strength about 2D at speed or scale. Now this is where things change again. So instead of having the automatic grenade launcher or more of a smaller laser, this is a medium laser cannon. Uh, the damage did go up a little bit. We're at 60 with a 1D fire control. Range is going to be kept the same. Damage for the missiles, or the missiles, we have 6 regular missiles, and I'm starting to transfer this over to have more of a standardized missile. It's going to be 8D for damage, figuring it would be like a concussion missile, and a fire control of 1D. So, it's not a big array of stats, and that's some of the things I've mentioned about with some of the other ones. I knock out just basic stats. Uh, I think this really covers the bulk of what we have here as a tilt rotor. Um, it is definitely a VTOL, meant to be able to vertically take off and land. Very simplistic design. The simpler, the better. Now, with the VTOL design, that itself does get it to be a little tricky. I know that when they first started having the Osprey, there were a number of crashes due to trying to get everything to work out quite right. Of course, this is kind of fantasy, military fantasy, and all that. Um, so we don't have to worry about that as much, and it's just for fun. But still trying to keep a little bit of a grounding of a realism to expand the fantasy part of it. So, um, you know, with a design like this and the possibilities of what this could be, if this actually was something that could be worked out a little bit more. Although, noticing a lot more of what we're starting to see in the civilian sector, instead of doing as many tilt rotors, although there are getting to be more tilt rotors, and we're starting to use more of the drone style engines. Now, these are gas, so I'm not going to say that this wouldn't work, but you're starting to see not just the two, but possibly four or six smaller tilt rotors being used. Um, I guess I'm going to throw it out this way. Instead of just using a straight electric, if we have for instance, what would be considered more of a pony motor, which is more of a generator to generate the power to run those other electric motors, how well would that run? Would that actually run a little bit better or not? I don't really know, um, but it's an idea to throw out there. But either way, you know, looking at the Fang 2, I think they were really onto a very nice idea here. Looking at what they did with the Fang 3, kind of trying to get back to the more traditional style. Um, to me, it doesn't really kick off quite as well. I really do like how the Fang 2 looks uh, in comparison. I'd either just stay with the regular Fang or go to the Fang 2. But either way, um, that's my own personal preference. With that, thanks for stopping by. It's wonderful having you stop by. Um, get to look at all the interesting things that were created. Some of the things that I think are a little silly at times, some of the things I think that are a little bit more plausible, or even if it's not a plausible design, sometimes it just looks really cool and really neat. Um, and I think that's a lot of what really got created. Things that really don't make a lot of sense in a lot of regards, but just seem really cool and neat. So, with that, hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.